Hi, and welcome to Flirty Faces. I'm your host, Ashley. Today, we will be discussing kinesic cues of the eyes and face while flirting. Joining me to demonstrate a few of these nonverbal cues are Kara, Shelbi, and Brittney. Let's go ahead and begin with Kara. Kara here is going to demonstrate gesturing with the mouth when interested in someone flirting with her from across.
Hello, this is Karaleah, Garcia, and I'm going to talk to you about nonverbal communications in the mouth and lips. Now, how we describe these gestures in our mouth and lips is usually through emotion. Now, emotion through our lips and mouth is a little more discreet, but still very noticeable. For example, when you're happy, you smile. But smiles can be different depending. So, a more real smile uses your whole face, like that. But a more fake smile, you're just going to use your mouth and just lift up the corners of your mouth, like that. And when you're unhappy, you may frown. Or you may actually purse your lips, like that, if you're displeased, unhappy, or unsatisfied. And another way we use our mouth and lip gestures is when we're flirty. So when we're flirty, we might bite our lip. I can't really be that cute when I do it. Or we may stick out our tongue. Or we may lick our lips, like that. Another use of a lot of these gestures, such as lip biting, is not only can it be used for flirting, but it can be used when someone's nervous or thinking. So I'm thinking about a test. Or people may actually twitch their mouth. Like, for example, sometimes I'll just move one corner of my mouth or twitch my mouth when I'm thinking or someone's asking me to do something or my opinion. So I'll kind of go like, and that's twitching your mouth. These are basic movements we all use to indicate people's emotions. So most of the time you can tell when someone's happy when they smile, a genuine smile. You can tell when they're upset when their smile looks a little more fake and like not a lot of effort's put into it. You can tell someone's mad if they're biting their lip. You can tell when someone's being flirty when they're looking at your lips, watching your lips. You can tell if someone's flirty if they're biting their lips or licking their lips or even puckering their lips in a kissy face. As you can see, a lot of lip gestures can say our emotions. So it's always good to be wary of what gestures you're doing and what gestures others are doing so you can get a good idea of what's going on.
Next with us, we have Shelbi. She is going to demonstrate a few different cues with the eyes, such as winking when trying to get someone's attention on the other side.
Hello, Ashley. Has a man ever winked at you? Or have you been winked at a bar across the room and you don't really know what to do with it? Sometimes it's really hard to read what he or she is intentionally trying to do when they wink at you. The body language of a wink can be very confusing and can lead to a few different outcomes. Depending on that wink and how you take that wink, there are a few different things that can happen. Reading the body language of a wink means that you understand and you're able to interpret the signs and signals that nonverbal is giving off. In some instances, men and women will wink to just have fun. Usually that's one wink, and that shows a certain level of intimacy or friendship. For example, nice job! When it comes to flirting, it may be across the room or even right next to you. You may see the body language of a wink, and you may know that that man or woman is flirting with you. And depending on how you perceive that wink, you might also be flirting back. When you find yourself not knowing what that person is trying to do, you would want to look at his or her eye contact. Have they looked at you after they winked? Were they staring at you before they winked at you? Are their eyes looking at you? Or what about their body? Is their body facing you? Have they been playing with their hair or fixing their clothes? These are all signs that nonverbal communications are certainly flirting. In the case of winking, you must be aware that most facial expressions that you make will be read by the other person. That signifies if you for the other person to move closer, or you don't want them to. Another thing that I want to point out, Ashley, is that the winks have made it into the nonverbal communications virtual playground in emojis and emoticons. In Match.com's 2015 Singles in America study, the dating website interviewed 5,600 single people from all over and of all ages. They asked them questions about flirting, texting, sexting, and the habits that come with that. 53% of the sample said that they would use a winky face emoji when trying to flirt. That is a significant percentage higher than the smiley face or the kissy face.
Another nonverbal cue that might occur while flirting is the uninvited facial expression. This allows the person trying to flirt with you know that you are not necessarily interested and their flirtatious ways are not warranted. Shelbi, can you show us this uninvited facial expression that might occur?
So, Ashley, what are you supposed to do when someone winks at you and you don't want them to do anything? You don't want them to come closer, you don't want to have a conversation. There's this face that you can give. Maybe you've come up with your own. Each girl might have their own kind of awkward face gesture that they give off so that that person that is showing interest doesn't come over because they see this facial expression that you're giving, and that's a sign that you don't want to have a conversation with them. Sometimes it could be like, other times it could be like, or it could be a rude face, like looking around, you don't know what's going on, you're trying to avoid eye contact. Every girl has one. Whether you just roll your eyes or you're trying to make yourself look like a fool, you've just created your own non-verbal way of saying, I don't want to talk to you. The way that you have just projected yourself makes it seem like you have no interest to be pursued by them. Ashley, do you have a creative way of showing someone that you don't want to talk to them?
Now we're going to meet up with Brittney, who is going to demonstrate the head tilt. Depending on other nonverbal cues that occur at the same time as the head tilt, Brittney can either show she is interested in the person flirting with her or she's not interested. Let's head over to Brittney now and see if she's in.
Hi viewers. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about kinesic cues, specifically the head tilt and how that can affect your dating game. So a head tilt can convey a few different things about how you are feeling about someone and how someone is feeling about you. And if you pay attention to these simple clues, you may be able to decipher a little bit about that person's feelings for you. So first, head tilt can convey interest. So if you're talking to someone and they look at you and they're like, interesting, they may be truly interested. Or if you're flirting with someone and they come up and talk to you and you respond with a kind of tilt your head this way, you're exposing what is called vulnerable, a signal that you have some kind of romantic interest in this person. Another way that a lot of women show interest is by doing a hair flip. So if you're talking to someone and you flip your hair and kind of tilt your head a little bit, that usually signals to someone that you are interested, maybe a little bit flirty, somewhat of a romantic interest in them. You may also kind of duck your head a little bit and look up underneath your eyelashes, and that kind of signals a mysterious, you want to seem a little bit mysterious, and that kind of signals that you may be interested as well. But head tilts can also signal disinterest or annoyance in a lot of situations. For example, if someone that you're not interested in comes up and is continuously trying to flirt with you and you're just not interested, you may end up catching yourself going and waiting for them to leave. You may also see someone that is bored or uninterested, maybe rest their head, kind of tilt their head sideways and rest their head on their hand, like probably means they're not very interested in what you have to say. Someone may also signal like a feeling of superiority towards you or judgment if they kind of tilt their head back, maybe tilt their nose up a little bit at you, act a little snooty, and they're like, interesting. They may be being sarcastic, trying to show you that they really don't care, they kind of feel like they're better than you. There are lots of ways that you can show this with just your head without any
Let's head back over to Brittney real quick so she can demonstrate our last nonverbal cue in this episode of Flirty Faces. She's going to demonstrate facial awkwardness. This cue can occur for several reasons, both good and bad. For instance, while trying to flirt back with the person flirting with you, avoiding the person flirting with you, or even trying to flirt with someone you are interested in, but you're just not good at flirting.
Another thing that I want to talk to you about is kind of facial awkwardness. Now, there are a lot of ways that people can use their face that doesn't really fit how the situation should be. For example, if someone's telling you a sad story or something sad about their life that happened and you smile or laugh or do something other than show empathy or sympathy for them, you're probably being a bit awkward with your facial expressions because that is not the cues that are called for in that situation. This can kind of go back to what is known as expectancy violations theory. That means pretty much that you expect something from someone that you're talking to, and if they reply or show you different nonverbal communication that doesn't match with your expectations, that can cause kind of a misfire in your communication. Certain nonverbal communication behaviors can be expectancy confirming, meaning that they do what you expect them to do. So if I tell you a joke and you laugh, you are confirming my expectations. But if I tell you a joke and you snort at me or look at me like you just don't find that funny at all, that is expectancy violating. So those two different types of things can be positive or negative for your interaction. And a lot of times they're called negative or positive violation. A few more examples of this could be like if someone is trying to be serious with you and you start like wagging your eyebrows at them, being like, that doesn't fit the situation. Or another one that's known, pretty well known as resting bitch face, if you just have this like smirk on your face all the time that doesn't seem very polite. A lot of times it's unexpected. A lot of times too, this can be not necessarily something that you mean to show, but more so just the natural lay of your facial muscles. They may appear to be something different, such as with resting bitch face. You may not really mean to be putting off that vibe, that you're unhappy or that you don't want somebody around, you don't want to be talking to someone, but your face just naturally puts off that vibe. And that can also be expectancy violating. Well, some of these things may help you kind of interpret other people's faces whenever they're speaking to you, or maybe this will help you consider what your face comes across when you're trying to speak to other people. Are you displaying what you're trying to display to them whenever someone's trying to flirt with you? Are you giving off facial expressions that are not what you're trying to say? How are you responding? I hope you've learned a lot about kinesic cues from myself and my friends today. Maybe you'll be able to use it in your everyday life. I hope it helps. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you for joining us today as we discussed a few of the eye and facial nonverbal cues that occur while flirting with others. We hope you've learned a little today about flirting and look forward to seeing you next time when we discuss flirting with touch. Thank you for joining Flirty Faces, and until next time, I am your host, Ashley.